Welcome to Mixed Media Interaction. For this one, I'll be demoing it on Photopea, but you could use Photoshop or any other digital art app. This is a mixed media piece, so you're going to start with a photograph, whether it's of people, objects, it could be of a painting like you see here, and you'll notice that you can do a couple things. Number one, you can overlap, so paint right over, so it looks like it's on top. You can also make things look like they pass behind. And the third option is using the idea of reflections. In your work, you're going to have at least one photo, you can have more, and you need one or more element that passes behind and one or more element that overlaps. We see this technique being used by artists like Christoph Niemann, a German illustrator who makes very playful images of everyday things that he photographs, or the work of Canadian Indigenous artist Sonny, who fights back against the colonial notion that his culture was somehow dead or dying by digitally painting over renowned Canadian artist Emily Carr's work. Let's start the project by heading over to Photopea, or Photopea if you prefer. And so you can use any other digital app if you know how to use it. It's got the same sorts of things. And we're going to find a picture first. So like I said, the picture could be a photo that you take, could be something you find on the internet. Here is a painting done by Anton Hentz from Austria. And so I'm going to download this thing and I'll drag and drop it into the box in the middle and it magically opens for me. So I've got the workspace in the middle. You can see the photo is a nice quality. When I zoom in, it's not getting very pixelated. And here it is in the background. So one of the things you need to know is you want to lock this down. You don't actually want to alter the photo. And so you can click on the little lock and you can see the background layer is now locked. Now let's head on down and click on new layer. It says layer number 1 now, and it's on top of the background layer. I'm going to double click this thing and give it a name because we might have a few layers and it pays to stay organized. So there we go. Now I've got the bottom layer, I've got the top layer. Let's take a look at this image. So we've got these big mountains. I could put something behind there. There's also these other horizons. So there's a hill here. There's another one there. So there's lots of space to fold things into this. I'm thinking of putting a monster in here. I want to put a gigantic monster that's behind the mountain. So I'm going to grab the brush tool and I'm going to brush it in. What I'll do is, because the monster is going to be big, I'm going to make my brush big. Why not? And so I'm going to tune it up to what I think is good. And I want to pick a color. I'm not going to go with yellow. I want something bright, maybe something that's red or pink, somewhere in between, like a coral color perhaps. That looks good. You can adjust the rainbow, then hit the actual hue that you want. Now I'm going to paint, and I'm actually going to overlap some of the mountain. Even though the monster is going to be behind the mountain, I want to have some overlap because that's how I'm going to get a good fit. So I'm just going to brush it in. You can see I'm actually just using my mouse, so it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. We're just getting started with this digital painting thing. Now I want to add some eyeballs, and so I want to add the white, or the sclera, I guess is that part, and I'm going to pop maybe 3 eyes. I want a 3-eyed monster. I made the brush big enough so that I don't actually have to brush around. I can just click. And now I'm going to put in the pupils. So I'm going to make them really dark, still in that red spectrum. And I'm going to make my brush smaller. So you're going to be constantly zooming in and out and making your brush bigger and smaller. And so I'm going to make this small so I don't have to brush around. Again, I can just click and have a perfect circle and it works. So now I want to fit the monster to the mountain. And I'm going to have to cut off the bottom. I'm going to make sure I'm on the monster layer and use a selection to cut that bottom piece. So I'm going to click there. Something that's going to help me is changing the opacity. As I slide this down, you can see the monster become see-through, and that allows me to see where I need to cut. I'm going to use the polygon lasso for this one. It's got great control, especially if you're using a mouse. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom way in. So now I can start to see the pixels. That's how close I am. And with this lasso, I'm going to click, and every time I click, I put a little anchor point down. And so all I need to do is trace on these mountains, and you can see I'm leaving a little bit in between so that the fit is good. I don't want to see any sky between. I'm going to speed this up a little bit because it's just a bunch of clicking around. So we're going to click, 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 and follow the mountain very faithfully. Zooming in is the key. and I'm doing the whole thing at once. You could do smaller chunks if you want, but this is probably the most efficient. Once I'm out of there, I'm just going to gather up all this bottom stuff. It's all overlapping the mountains, so I'll go around it, start where I finish and finish where I start. And then you can just hit delete. And hitting the delete key is going to just erase anything inside the selection. I'm going to turn up the opacity, and we can see the monster is fitting behind there really nicely. The illusion is created of that overlap. So this is good. Let's move on to stage 2. Over here, I want to put in something that's overlapping, perhaps a comet. This is going to be a disaster painting, I'm deciding in the moment. New layer for that. And just like the monster, I'm going to construct it on one layer. You can use more than one layer to construct things, different colors on different layers. Just depends on how you work. But for sure, I'm going to grab this yellow and create the comet on this layer. The comet's going to be big. I'm going to make the brush big, of course. And I want to have it right kind of hitting close. Well, not even hitting. It's going to be in the air still, coming down from the right side into the middle of the picture plane. It's as if the monster is watching this happen. It's like a full Armageddon going on. So I've got the main comet trail happening. I'm going to size this down, make some little other flame trails to make it look more interesting. You can get as detailed as you want with your painting. You can have many, many colors describing this, or you could have just a few. I think I'm going to plan on about 3 or 4. So I will just continue to add to this painting, putting more colors on, get some oranges as well. So again, I'll speed this up because you've seen this happen with the monster. I'm going to keep up the pattern of grabbing the brush, changing the color, making sure the size is correct, painting what I need, and then doing that over again until I have enough hues and colors in here to describe what I want. And as we're getting towards the end here, just putting a little bit of glowing embers on the comet itself. And I feel like we're getting really close to done. I feel like this could be done right here. So I definitely have some overlapping. I have some passing behind. And I'm thinking that we are ready to go. I just noticing here there's a goat. There's one lonely goat on the roof just watching the end happen. That's pretty great. So we're going to save this up. We're going to go to File and then head to Export. And you can do PNG or JPG. Remember to give it a title at this point. If you haven't already, you can put your first name and then the project name or part of the name. And you can hit save. Hit OK there. And then you'll find this in your downloads. So just make sure to double check before you submit this that it is looking right. I put it in my browser and this looks good. So good luck with your project.